Hello all. Today we are going to discuss the poem by Kamala Das, My Mother at 66. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. So in this poem, Kamala Das says that when traveling to Cochin airport with her mother, she looked into her mother's face, who is sitting beside her. So it's a late journey where she is going to the Cochin airport from her parents' home. So she's returning to somewhere from her parents' home. And during that journey, she looked into her mother's face, who is sitting beside her. So when she looked into her face is like doors. She is very weak and she is open mouthed. Her face is just like ash. That means is pale. And it looked like just as a corpse. So when Kamala Das looked into the mother of her face of her mother, she felt that it was just like a corpse that is sitting beside her. And at that moment, Kamala Das realized that her mother is reaching her old age. She is now very old and she looked, but soon put that thought away. She wanted to divert her attention from the thought of her mother being old and aged. So, in order to put that thought away, what she did, she looked outside of the car, where she was able to see so many other things, sceneries, like the trees sprinting. Sprinting means the trees are moving very fast. So when we are traveling in a vehicle, when we are traveling in a car, the trees seems to be running, right? Running very fastly. So here, this phrase suggests that the time is running, the running of the time. And the merry children spilling out of their homes. And she can also see the merry children, the happy children. They were all running out of their house. They were playing. They were having fun. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, wan, pale. So in order to make away the thought of her mother being old, she looked into other things outside the car. And when she reached the airport once again, she looked into her mother's face, which is again very pale, very dark, seems to be very old, out of their homes, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, standing a few miles away, I again looked into my mother's face, which is very pale, which is weak and meek, and it's just like the late winter's moon. The late winter's moon here suggests that winter is the last season of the seasonal cycle. So, just as the winter season, her mother is at the end of her life. Definitely in spring, the moon will be there, but it will be a new one, just the rebirth that the mother will be having after her death. So, she again compared the mother's face with that of the late winter's moon to symbolize that her mother is reaching her old age. So, at that time, the poet felt an old familiar ache of childhood fear of losing her mother. That means for the first time, when we are there in the schools and all, a feeling will come to our mind that, oh, my mother will go from here and I will be alone. I will lose my mother. That's the same childish feeling, that familiar ache came into the mind of Kamala Das. When she looked into her mother's face, she felt that the next day, the next week, maybe she won't be able to see her mother. So in order to fill the heart of the mother with a courage, with motivation, with a hope or expectation, she said these lines. See you soon, Amma. So very soon I will be seeing you, Amma, in my next visit. And all she did was to give a beautiful smile to her mother. She smiled, and smiled at her, so that the mother will be having a new life. The mother will be thinking about Kamala Das' return some days after. So in this poem, when we analyze this poem, we can clearly understand that Kamala Das is speaking about the fear that she was having, the ache that she is now feeling of losing her mother. Because she knows very well that her mother is reaching her old age. Maybe next time when she will be there, maybe she won't be able to see her mother. So all these things are there in the mind of Kamala Das, and she made this poem. And throughout the poem, we can see that kind of feeling. That means she is having a fear that maybe in the next visit, her mother won't be there to accept her, to receive her. And this gave a kind of fear in the mind of Kamala Das. And that is what throughout the poem she is focusing on. Very beautifully, Kamala Das is talking about the relationship of her with her mother, the return to Cochin airport, and the condition of her mother.